Remember how my tires were glued to the ground? So I am working on ungluing them now from the ground. And they are no longer glued to the ground, as you can see. They can now leave the ground. But they are, as soon as they touch the ground, they are again glued to the ground. So I have no friction. That's my next step, or next or something. But at least I can have the tires leave the ground, even if I don't have friction. So that seems to be alright. It's one step in the right direction, and my differentials are working, and my brakes are working, and my energy transfer. The energy transfer is different now from the wheels' rotational energy than they will be when I have friction, because I have no energy loss as the rotating wheels touch the ground now. That's why you can see how the car jolts away when the rotating tires hits the ground. And they will do so also when I have friction, but then there will be frictional losses so that the jolt will be less. Anyway, it also looks a little bit cool when I'm doing this. And yeah, I was gonna show something else, but this was a tad too much fun. Anyway, I was gonna show this. So now when I move and I hit the brakes hard, they lock up eventually. And you see when they lock up, they lock the yellow lines are the forces on the wishbones. So now there are forces on the wishbones because the brakes are locked, and there are forces in the tire flex locked in there. So that's why the forces are all over the place now, because the braking forces deformed the tires, and when the car stopped there are still deformation in the tires, and that energy is stored, and that result in a force on the wishbone. So those are the yellow lines. So now I will let go of the brakes, so that will release the deflection in the tires and release the energy, and there will be a small jolt in the tires, and the yellow lines will go back to being horizontal like that. And also it rolls away like I showed you in the previous video because of the skating effect. So that's quite good and quite a lot of attention to detail. Of course, I didn't work extra for this, I just did the right thing, and everything works automatically because I have the equation makes this happen for me. And another thing with the yellow lines is that there are also forces from the drive shafts and the CVDs. when they are not at the perfect angle, straight angle, there are forces on the uprights and on the wishbones and the differentials. When you put the torque on the CVDs, there's torque out and there's a torque on the upright, and there is a force on the upright. Even if there is no friction in the CVD, there is a force because of the angle. And I'm also simulating that. So let's brake the car. So now I will lock the brakes, locking the brakes, and now I will put torque on the engine. So you will see the yellow lines that are the force on the wishbones change as I put torque on the engine. And that is because I am simulating the CVDs and all the forces correctly. And yeah, not particularly funny to watch, but interesting if you're into really accurate car simulations. And also there are torque on the wheel, but I have no line showing the torque right now. But you can see the blue line poking out from the tire. That's quite interesting too. The blue line that's flashing on the tires now is the tie rod force. So I'm simulating everything with the tie rods. Let's go down to the tie rods and watch. Where are the tie rods? The pink ones are the tie rods, and the red ones are the uprights and the steering arms. So I have the geometry is simulated. If you move the rack around or change this angle, Ackerman angle, or the length of the steering arm, let's just put the brakes on. The steering is different. I'm simulating the steering geometry in real time, and the blue line is the force on the tie rod. Right. And if I put the brakes on and accelerate, there are of course different forces on the tie rods because of the torque and the force from the CVDs. So there's both a force and a torque from the CVD when I put torque in the engine. Not just torque rotating the wheel, but torques. I call them stray torques because they want to rotate the wheel in another direction than the hub is pointing in. Anyway, seeing that, yeah. Right, thank you for watching. Bye bye.